Welcome back here today in room 171. Most people know it as Studio B, the production facility right here at Florida Panhandle Technical College in downtown Chipley, Florida. One more in our series of speaking to artists, creators, photographers, videographers, people who are out there making things happen. It's an exciting world right now. Artificial intelligence is a very large part of photography and videography and all of what creators do work with. Today we have Shawn Burgett. Shawn is a senior graduating this year from Chipley High School right here in Chipley, Florida. And Shawn has been part of our class for half a day as a senior here in television production technology. When we come back, we're going to talk to Shawn a little bit about maybe what attracted him to the program, maybe what he feels good about, maybe what he feels bad about, maybe his despair and anguish about having actually come to the class. But in any case, we'll talk to Shawn about all this and more, and we will be right back. Welcome back. As mentioned, our guest today is Shawn Burgett. Thanks for taking the hot seat. It's not an easy thing to do, but as a student, you are eminently qualified to be able to talk about some of the reasons why potential students should maybe take a look or just forget completely about taking this class. First of all, thanks for having spent the last year with us. It's been a joy. I knew your mom initially, and when you came in one of the first weeks that you were here, you said, my mom showed me some old pictures that you took of me when I was just still walking around. I don't know if it was diapers or not.
It was a photo I don't remember where we were at, but it was a baby picture that I needed for my senior, yearbook photos.
My wife and I have taken a lot of pictures over the last 20-some years here in Washington County, so that's not an unusual occurrence. You were a student within the television production technology program, and you continue to finish that out now. Talk a little bit about television production, what it is, what attracted you to that particular course of study, and maybe your thoughts about it.
Well, I've always kind of had a little bit of a draw towards cinematography, kind of how they make movies, the behind the scenes. I've spent a lot of time watching bloopers, outtakes, stuff like that.
People love to see that stuff.
Yeah. For the comedy side of it, that's what got me into it. But then after realizing it, I was like, wow, the way they do this stuff's pretty cool. And then I started watching stuff about how they really make movies. I got into the one about 1917, because it's all one take. And then going into video games, got really into that photography. So I was like, the digital video course, something that I am interested in. So I decided to join it. And it's definitely been everything that I've expected. And definitely been a lot more as well.
It's a little different from K-12.
Yeah.
It's a little different than high school. If nothing else, the logistics of it. You do a 45-minute class or whatever the length of it is. You do multiples of those in a day at high school. And you really never get to the point where you're so bored that you want to scratch your eyes out. You're always doing something different. Here you come for 3 hours, go to lunch, and come back for another 3 hours. And for those who are here all day long, so it's a pretty intense 6-hour day. But with a 5-day week, 30 hours a week, it doesn't take long to get through the program. So that's the upside. What parts of the program did you find that you really gravitated toward more than others?
Well, whenever I first started the program, due to the things I said about video games, I was really interested in photo modes in video games. So that's what gravitated towards me the most at the start of the program. But recently and over the past few months, it's kind of started shifting towards video, and I've kind of thought about doing a lot more with that.
You agree that AI has a huge part in that creative process anymore?
I would say it's definitely starting to get there. It's becoming a lot more accessible. It's becoming a lot easier to get this AI and use it. And it is definitely becoming a part of the creative process. And where we go from there?
There are 100 different things that I could tell somebody to keep them from coming to my program. There are a lot of things that would probably turn off somebody and I try to let them know the good, the bad, the ugly, warts and all, before they come into my class. I really like to have an hour or 2-hour meeting with a potential student along with their parent or guardian, be able to talk about the things that are reality and that they're going to have to kind of adhere to. Talk a little bit about some of the things that you would tell somebody to watch out for if they're not ready to be able to step up and handle those things.
I think one of the biggest things is the biggest part about this class is that we run it like a business, so we have to be on top of like due dates. We have to be on top of meetings, schedule stuff like that. We got to remember that stuff. And typically you won't remind us too much. You might give us one day or something where you let us know again, but typically that's up to us, and we have to be responsible for what we do, how we do it. And like time management, we have to be very good with time management, because if you're not, can't get projects done for people in a timely manner. And
well, do you feel that stuff, even if you were not to go into video or photo or creativity in any way, would still hold you in good stead? That those things that you've had to put up with?
Because even if you're not using video, using that can still help you, do better in other ways, like other careers.
Still not bad to be on time.
Yeah.
If you had to tell somebody the good parts of if you really wanted to get somebody interested, if you knew them really well and knew that they were creative and meant you the same ways as you are, but they're turning their nose up at, nah, that's probably not for me. If you kind of knew otherwise, if you knew that it probably was, what would you say to that person?
I would say, despite being responsible for the schedules and the stuff like that,
The bad part.
yeah, if you do have the passion for it and you are someone who does want to do something like that, then it is really easy to learn, especially through this class, how to overcome those challenges, how to beat them, and how to do better in this field, and how to use your creativity to make something awesome.
It's probably comes as no surprise to any of my students, but and they've seen some of it actually happen. But some students find out really early on that they're just not made for it, and they leave. And we've got a policy here on campus that if this program or any other program that you start with isn't for you, then you can easily transfer it to a different program. And I've had people go from this program to welding or cosmetology or pharmacy tech or whatever the other program was. No harm, no foul. And that's the good thing about this campus, is that there's a wide variety of programs. And if you just want to learn something and you really kind of awash and don't really know which way to go, you'll have the opportunity to find something. But more than not, the people who have left this program either have social anxiety issues and they just can't talk to other people or don't want to talk to other people. But at the end of the day, and I say this a lot, I'm sure you remember, is that this is a communication class. Talk a little bit about how that communication plays into all the things that you have to learn how to do.
Well, self-evidently, we're here talking, but the social anxiety aspect, it is a pretty big part of it. It is something that you might have to overcome. And if you do struggle with it, we as a class kind of come together and help build skills that will help you overcome that. We don't really just let people stay stuck in the mud behind us. We try to build people up with us.
And I like that so much more. I'm so glad that you brought that up. I tell the class at the very beginning of the year that it's not a team sport, but at the end of the day, you all rise or fall together. And so you're not going to turn your back on somebody that's struggling with something. You can't help them out in the middle of a test, but hopefully well before that time, you've helped them as much as you're able to. And I think that's a big deal. I look at this class as I'm willing to accept the fact that people are going to sort of fear me at the beginning because I talk loud and I'm kind of demanding. Hopefully that turns into respect in some fashion. And then ultimately some form of love, because I truly love my students. I love to see what you guys do after you graduate. So I've never been a huge family man, and I've never been much of a touchy-feely kind of guy. But I think that this learning environment, being a teacher here for the last a period of time, has been really good for me. And it's taught me to be more giving and more allowing and not be as demanding. In the businesses that I've owned in the past, I've been a terrible boss because I've been, probably easy to believe that I've been very demanding. And I probably would continue to be, in a role as a boss or as a foreman. But I think you understand why. And you can have fun. You can take a break, and we can take a day off, or we can take a field trip. But when you're working, my thoughts are that you're working, and why not, while you're buckled down, get it done. Yeah. One of my favorite expressions is done is better than perfect. Talk a little bit about that, what that means to you, and what you've come to see about that phrase.
Done is better than perfect is definitely something that I've struggled with. I spent a lot of time struggling over the finer details, trying to make sure every little piece was perfect. But at the end of the day, you don't actually have to worry about it. In all honesty, not many people, like if you leave a little tiny error that you've been stuck over, nobody's really going to notice it. And you would definitely want to rather get it done. You know, you have to get it turned in. You're going to have to get it done. So don't gripe over the little details. You can, I won't say ignore it, because obviously you see a problem, you should try and fix it, but don't struggle over it and don't let it ruin you, because you can move on. You can just work around it and you can do something else.
And one thing that you probably don't see until you're into the program for a couple of months, but you can always go back and fix those things, because you're going to have time where the direction of the day is, hey, catch up on everything that you haven't finished yet. And that's your perfect time to go back and you could even actually resubmit it, with those improvements. We, when a project is due and everybody turns it in, we do a lot of peer review. We go around the table, the conference table, and we all point out what we think needs attention, what we like, what we don't like, what could use attention in everybody else's project. What do you think about that process?
I definitely think it helps us because, like I said earlier, we build ourselves up together as a community kind of, and going over it as a group, we help to see things that, like I might not have been looking at it in that sort of way, but this person, they can use their insight, their experiences, and give me feedback that helps me do better. And as a class, I've definitely used that time that we spent reviewing our projects to learn what to do, what I've done wrong, how I can fix it, and how I can move on in the future to do better.